then this will all get forged out into a Tang.
So
this will be
the
waste.
rest of this is gone.
It was from here back. It's
Wow.
waste. So this will be the Tang, this section here. And I'll show everybody. As you guys can see, I kind of drew on here where I'm going to cut this off at an angle. We'll cut it with that grinder over there. It's actually a cutoff wheel. We'll cut it right here, and then all this will be forged into a Tang. It'll all come out and be very long because you can forge that metal out. This area is all waste back here. So I'm going to show you. We'll cut that off right now. Start forging that Tang. Area right here will be tapered out into a tapered Tang. It'll taper to the sides and the top. It'll be about this long. Getting hot, we'll start forging the Tang. Have to get the scale off. Hopefully you don't get on your legs. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. That starts getting your taper. Straighten it back up. Kind of straighten things back up. top down. I'm starting to taper the sides in. So that'll be next. I'm going to try to use this flatter tool. Evan was telling me last night on the phone that he does his with a flatter. That's what this tool is called, a flatter. You can see it's good to flat on one side. And you can taper a large area with that, he says. So I'm going to try that. But this is also used for forging all kind of other things. You'd have someone hit this side with either a hammer or a sledgehammer. A bigger one would be for a sledge. This would be more for a smaller hammer here. So we'll use this. A lot of slag on the blade right now, so we'll see about getting the slag off next. Better. Got a lot of slag right here. We'll see about getting that off. You don't want to beat the slag into the blade. Of course, now we're working on the Tang. Now we're going to try to straighten things up a little bit. It's getting down there pretty good, but it's still a little thick in some places. So we'll work on the high spots and the thick spots, try to taper this down just a little more and keep straightening. The backbone's a little bit high in some places, so I'll try to hit those too and try to get more taper. As you can see, we want to taper this way and this way. So you have two tapers there you're working for. It takes a lot of time for me to do the Tang. Seems like it takes longer to do that. As you can see on the diagram here, we'll be bringing the Tang down just a little bit toward the point. This is how Scagel had his knives. A lot of his knives had this S shape to it. Not all of them, but he started making a lot of his skinners this way. And he would put the guard in at an angle, and I'll show that in a little bit. And it almost looked like somebody thumbing. If you held the knife in your hand when you held your thumb out, that's how he liked to hold his knife. So that you could have his thumb against that guard. When you get under the skin, he could work it like this. So that's why he's got the shape of the blade as an S. Straighten things out a little. It may take 2 or 3 more attempts, but I'm trying to just kind of straighten things out before we quit. Yeah. you'll never get all the kinks out of the blade. You want to get it as good as you can before you grind the blade. Once you grind, you can grind a lot of that out. But they say that 10 minutes on the anvil is worth about 10 hours on the grinder. So it's easy to forge very well, as close as possible. Do all your forgings on your high spots and things, and your warps, anything like that. You don't want any warp in the blade if you can help it. But try to keep the blade as straight and as even as possible. You want tapers to be consistent and not bent one way or the other. So that's what I'm doing now, is trying to get that fine point to where it can be ground after this. So whoever wins this blade, I would suggest grinding it next and then going through the heat treat process. Probably as close as you'll get for forging. I mean, you could spend another hour and a half in there if you want. You can really just keep straightening things, getting the scale off of it and things. But the more you do, the thinner it's getting. So you want to forge thick and give you plenty of backbone there that you can grind still and leave. You don't want to have a sharp edge. The last thing you ever do to a knife when you're making it is sharpen it. So as you're making it, you put your handle on it with no edge. Of course, you'll grind an edge, but you won't have it sharp yet. So, and you'll even polish the blade before you put your edge on it. The very last thing is sharpen it and make a sheath for it. So at this point, it's still got a long way to go, but it's basically the shape of a Scagel. As you can see, there's enough room here to put a guard. You'll put your leather, if you want to do leather, and then your antler, and put a pin in it. And the pin will hold the antler on. I'll show you that now. I've got one that's halfway made. I've got a blade that's already got the handle stuff ready to go on. So I'll just show you how the guard is made first, and then how to stack up from there, and then we'll basically be done with this demonstration. So we're just going to let this thing air cool. We're going to I'll put it in the oven, back into the forge, and let the heat slowly anneal the blade. So you want it to be as soft as it can possibly be before you grind it. That's what annealing is softening that steel. So to do that, we'll stick it back in here and let it slow down with the heat of the oven or the forge, and that could take a while. So that thing will probably still be hot in an hour, where you probably can't touch it. This is the knife we forged today, the Scagel knife, and as you can see, there's still a lot of black carbon and stuff on there. This will all get ground down, and then we will heat treat this blade. So when this is finished, it'll look more like this. As you can see, this is also a file that's been forged down and then ground, and the edge still isn't on here, but we will, the last thing we would do is sharpen this edge, but we leave it dull so that we can put the handle on. As you can see, you're still working this, and we've already got all the bumps and everything out of this, and it's got a good profile.